those magnificent men in their flying machine. They go up to the up, up, they go down to the up, down.
Alright, and chaps, first back there. This is to show you, just putting the quick video and show you roughly how the assembly is. And especially mainly for like Ian, who's like following me as I do the builds. So basically I've obviously done one side to sort of show you how it is. You keep the weight down because you don't really need it on the plan as such, because you know these, I've checked it, these are exactly the right width to the to the plan, which they are. So you know, it's straightforward really, but you know, do the edges, do. I like the tip. I watched this video blinded by Barry's brilliance, as they say, and he was making dummy engine cylinders, which were a fantastic idea out of old servo things that none of us ever use. They always come in the packs. Very rarely we use them, and I think that's pretty cool. So you can do it this way. Just get it on, squeeze it in, make sure it's flush with the other. That's that one. Right, take off the excess glue, make sure it's true with the bottom, which it is, and then the ultimate test is the set square. To try and get it, as long as the set square sits straight, which it will, and that's that, and that's straight. So we just now, we leave that to set. It takes about 10 minutes for this stuff, and then I'll concentrate more then on the rest of the build up. Like I said before, because the front former never came with the kit for the actual main engine bearer, firewall, whatever, then I'm going to have to formulate that and make one. So I'll come to that. That's probably what I'm going to have to do next, and that because it involves situating the engine and everything else. So that's that for now. Okay, right, we're going to set this. As I said before, this is the bottom wing plate to hold the bolt on, to hold the bottom wing on. So what I've basically done is I've had basically I've made a template of this again, because like I said, it's a spare. I've marked it, I've actually put it in, looked at the plan, see where it's situated, and then basically you put it on there to get the right, make sure it's balanced, so you know, so that it's got the bubble is in the right place roughly. And then once you've got it there, you clamp it with your fingers, mark it with where it is there, making sure the other side has got to be even, so you do that and you check it all over. Then once you've got that in there, what I tend to do is I get a piece of, I'm going to get it on the camera, this is smooth card, well anything like a Carlin box is what I usually use or whatever, and then I epoxy the sides because it's the strongest, so you mix it up, plus when it mixes this, and then it's a smooth surface so it doesn't soak in, and then I get a cocktail stick. This is like 5-minute epoxy, which I tend to use because I haven't got the patience like most people have to wait. But it's up to you. I think a 5-minute epoxy is just good. So obviously you've adapted it on the edges with the cocktail sticks, it's nice. And then you get it into position, play with it. You use a little bit of time to play with it. And then the other side, so it's nice and square. And once you've got it in, like you're happy with it, which I'm happy with that side, you clamp it with your fingers, look at the other side because it's bound to not be exactly right. Sometimes you just have to use your eyes, you know, you can go so far, I mean it gives you a bit of time to play with it, and that's about right. If you just check it, I might have to come off the camera now, so see, it's in, and now if I can get it back on the camera just to check, I think I'm on there, aren't I? Sort of, it's awkward when you've got no hands. Right, right. So if now I've got it in situ, clear off the access because you want to stick it, make sure that is, gently press it, that's it, so it's there. Right, now you got that like that, so that's lovely. And then I always use these are just old bits of frame that I had off a Louvador, and they come in handy as clamps, so you get a clamp on there. The reason I use these so it doesn't mark the balsa, and then you get your clamp and just put it on, not too tight because it'll stick into the balsa. So you get nice and even. Just enough to hold it there. It's just more enough. And now they're in. Now you've got it in, the assembly's in. You check that it's square. And what I've done now, so I think I've still got it in there somehow, yeah. Right. Now what I've pre-made, just to give it a bit of strength, I've made the side bits, you know, just as strengthening doublers. And basically you can either do it now or wait till it's set, but I tend to do it because it'll then guarantee it's going to be holding place. So I use a bit of Sino. Get a fucking bottle off. There you go. Yeah, great. A bit of Sino, he says. Right, the Sino on it. Once it's in place, Sino. It wants to come out. There you go. Dee -dee 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 -dee. And then you can slide it into place. Obviously cut to the size. And you're in, just give it that. And then just repeat the process on the other side. And that's about it. Right. And there you have it. And just get it in there. And so it's nice and square. That's that. Lovely. Right. Yeah, that's about it. And so you see, that's it in the, well, that's perfect. So you can see what I mean. So that's the first bit done. And then obviously as we go along, we'll go along it. But just doing the video as short as possible, really. So we leave that now to set. That go have a cup of tea or something. And then move on with the next bit. Okay, we'll do the front now. This is where the undercarriage strut bar lies. So you obviously follow the plan, you look on the plan to see where it's meant to sit, but then make sure that you've got it in perfect position, because you obviously put it on last. If you can see on the video, you want to put it on there so you know it's going to be dead flat against the firewall when it goes on, so you know you've got nothing to worry about, because you need as much against that firewall to hold it on as possible. Okay, so we know that. So now once again, you've mixed your epoxy up again, because it's a major strengthening bit. You really need to get decent epoxies, like the best I find is the strongest stuff going. And that, obviously people have their own opinion. And make sure you've got the right angle, because it's, as you can see, it's angled at the front. There's an angle there, that's what follows the thing. So here we go with it. Right. That way would probably be the right idea, wouldn't it? Okay, so you think you've got it in position. And obviously you get a clamp. Right. Right, you got it in place. You check it with this thing. See, so you got it in there, so you know it's going to be nice and tight to the. That's about best you got to get it really. That's it. Nice. Again, it's finger tight, and you've got it in place. Get the excess off. Make sure it's level. That's the important bit. And like I say, it gives you a bit of time to keep adjusting it. See, it's not fucking right there. There we go. And that's that. Yeah, that's fine. And then you do repeat the process. Clamp that on. And that on there. Get your clamp. If it works. Right. Give me your clamp on that flame. Okay. And then you're in. Make sure you got it on there. And that's it. There we go. And then, just in case you got any excess glue in the rim, in there like there is there, you just get a little brush, like so, clean it out. So you don't want anything like that in there. Yeah. So there you have it. That also now gives you a major setup for when you do line up the front of the fuse with the firewall. You've then got an accurate square, if you know what I mean, so you're not going to slightly go out, because once this goes on, that's the key. Anyway, I think the next thing, I'll probably carry on with the inner bits of that, but we'll see. Okay, right, it's a bit shaky, but if you can see what I've done is, this is the front faceplate that's missing from the kit. So what I've done is I've got to have to replicate it. So I did what I showed you with the tail assembly, or the fin and the rudder, as I want to put it properly. I just got carbon blue paper, put it underneath, and underneath the board that I intend to use, which is like 8mm ply, 10mm ply actually, yeah. So yeah, obviously it comes out the way it should be, and that, and then roughly cut it with your scroll saw if you want, or a bandsaw, whichever you choose, right, or even a jigsaw, right. But then I cut it out rough with the marking showing, and then went to the sander and sanded it to shape. And then obviously put the bevel on the bottom, because that's how it runs. Now the thing with this is that what I intend to do, but just to save time, I got a piece of card, as I do with everything, and made a former, cut a template former for it. But what I will do now is, whilst other things are drying or whatever, I'm going to make another one out of the same ply so that it's solid and it's easier to like cut around, you know, and it's perfect. Saves me doing all that again. Oh yeah, and the main key is that Mark, you sent a hole off the plan, which is, it's marked on the plan, and that's your bearing. So that's just basically it now. Now the next plan with this is to situate the engine, because he does say in the instructions you should really mount your engine first where you want it positioned, you know, and then once it's all in position mounted, take it all apart, and then situation with your petrol tank, you know, that's going to go, or fuel tank. Anyway, that's it for now. And on the plan it shows that you need strengtheners here to like beef up the strut bars, because there's where the main issue with the wings are going to be sitting on, because they use metal bars that they bring for the struts. Anyway, so this little piece here, unfortunately these are missing out of the kit sadly, so I've just basically looked at it on the plan, measured up the actual rectangle of the block. Now how to get the cut even, this is what I'm going to show you so we can see it. And basically you get the piece of wood that you've got, and if it's flat like that, I tend to get it on there, and then you know it's square, mark either side like that, that side, and obviously the other side that's in line, and then once you've got that angle you get it flat to the surface there where it's sitting, and you, if you can see about my thumb, you mark it there, and that way it gives you both axes, you get both axes then, and then you get a ruler and you simply use the ruler and use your eyes again, and you basically draw down it that way, and then obviously that way, like so. Make sure it's straight, and then once you got them like that, you cut it out to size, and then obviously you check it that way. That actually fit in there. It probably won't now, but it does. You see, that fits in there lovely. And then because obviously it's glue in the insides, I glue the side there, that gives that a bit of extra strength. The other way of doing it, which I personally think would be a bit easier, is do what I did with them. Use a piece of triangle, a piece of that. I think that's just as strong, but then other people will probably argue, but I would say that was a stronger method. There's more area space to hold it rather than a thin piece of ply. But seeing as we're going by the, trying to keep as accurate to the plan as possible, I'll do it this way. Not that I'm happy with it, but there you go. Okay, it's a bit, that's probably the hardest part of the build, to be honest, because I've been awkward with it. Because I'm using a 70 engine, and Ian, this is what I was on about last night to you, mate, when you're building yours. If you choose to go with a 52 4-stroke, then fine, it's more of a simple case. You still have to do all this cutting out around there to get the back of the engine in. But obviously, because mine's a lot larger, being at a 70, with its funky thing, I got this off Martin Thompson, bless him, and it's one of these funky carb things at the end. But either way, it serves its purpose. So as you can see, I've cut the main firewall, is now back about 2 inches, and obviously they're the holes to allow the various wires and tubes to go through for the petrol tank and so forth, and the throttle. So mainly this piece here is now just a bit of show to hold the cowling on. Alright, so it doesn't matter about the cut at the top, that's to allow you to get the glow plug starter on and that, so you work around that after you build it. But so that's the main piece there, and it's set so you know that the sheeting at the bottom is going to be at the right width. There's no sanding involved there. So obviously, to be fair, it's quite, it looks as simple as it does, but it isn't really, because this is the piece that I used. This is like a sample piece, and I was cutting about, each time I had it clipped, I must have unclipped this and clipped this 1,000 times to get the right excess hole, you know, to allow for the engine to go through. So there's plenty, so it saves you on your original piece. Once you've got your template, basically, that's what this is, and you cut away at it, and then obviously once you got it in the right position, then you know where to, like, obviously I've left the main bit in to strengthen it, which doesn't really matter, but it does there. And then in case if anybody else asks, the reason I have the engine upright, which I didn't really want, to be honest, so the engine will fit in like so. There's your engine, it goes in, there's room for that silencer, so everything fits inside the cowling. But the problem is with, I believe, Dean Farr's pup, when I got hold of that, he had the same problem. So unfortunately I'm going to have to cut a piece out of the top of the cow, which I'm not happy about. But I have tried 1,000 different methods to try and to invert the engine. I wanted to invert it, but unfortunately things like the silencer, and the main problem I found was even if it would be fine if it was a small 52, you could probably just fit it in. But unfortunately, right behind the bottom of this firewall, firewall whatever, former, you've got the main leg strut, you know, the brace that holds the legs on for the undercarriage, so you can't cut into that, and that was the problem. The back end of the whole back end of the engine here, where the carb sits and that, it just fouls it too much, so there's no way you can get away with it unless you wanted to extend it out longer, so you put 2 plates on here, which really doesn't serve its purpose, you know. So that way, the other thing is that people might worry about the C of G. Well, it's a quite heavy engine, this little thing. Not only that, I did research on it and googled it, and this will pull it probably got the max I would give it a chance being a 70, probably get an extra half a pound of weight, which is a lot of weight to balance it out. So there's that. Well, I didn't have a problem when I put a 70 in it before, because I had a 52 in my old puppeteer, and it, to be fair, it struggled in my opinion. If a gust of wind came along, you were fighting against it. So I put a 70 in it, and that was a lot better. Well, it suited the plane perfect. So that's what I'm sticking with. So that's that. So, you know, obviously with this bit here being the main firewall now, I'll put in side inserts to brace it and make it stronger. But obviously I just left it in case I cocked it up, which I might have done. So that's that bit now. So the next thing is to make sure the engine, it all fits. So just drill the necessary holes where they go, and then the trick is that I'll attach this before I put the engine in, obviously, so it's all on. So that's it basically. The next thing is obviously put your pegs on to hold the cowling on. I don't really want to cut the cowling, but unfortunately there's not a lot I can do with that, unfortunately. So there you have it. So that's it, the next stage. That was the hardest bit. To be honest, it's took me about 4 hours to get this right. So I'm quite pleased with it. And so we'll see how it goes. Okay, well, that's that bit. So, oh yeah, the next bit is, because it was missing in the kit, this is the former. I'm going to cut the shape out of the petrol tank, which is basically all that involves, if I can find the tank quickly. Another thing of Martin Thompson's, bless him, found this and give me a bag. You just put it, position it once you've got it in the fuse, draw around it, cut it out with a fret saw or scroll saw, and then position it so you've got a nice tight fit for the tank. And that'll be that. And that's mainly the most of the front of the fuse sorted. There's a back plate to go under the rear wing, and then it's connecting it to the rear end of the fuse, which will be nice, hopefully. Oh yeah, and I might put the servo trays in, depends. I usually put them in last because I never know where I'm going with it. Okay, that's just a quick video just showing you how it's clamped, because that's the idea. So it's obviously clamped in the position. It came in handy, the little offcuts, because now you can see, so it's all just held in place. Like I say, this is white glued on because usually I would epoxy it, but because it's not, it's only holding a little canopy cowling on, doesn't matter. And as I think you see with the camera, but I've obviously strengthened these were epoxy on each side, so that's as strong as you can possibly get. I mean, if you're really conscious about it, which is, you know, for a little 70 it's not worth the bother, but if it was a bigger, like a 90, if you were putting that in, then I would do the other side as well, so that is super strong. But at the moment that's it, the holes are all drilled and the engine fits a treat. So the next stage, if I decide to put the servo plates in, which I'm not sure because I can't be bothered, but the next bit, hopefully today, will I'll join the two, anastomosis as they call it, of posh medical word, the front and rear of the fuse, and then we're really going places. Woohoo, jelly! Can't wait. Nice one. Alright, chaps and girls and everyone else, bye!
Those magnificent men, those magnificent men, those magnificent men in the flying machine.